afternoon. This is the Ambassador with me, Ambassador Susan Nganga. Now, to begin our bulletin today, in a move that could significantly impact United States-Cuba relations, the Biden administration announced on Tuesday that it will remove Cuba from its terrorism blacklist. This announcement comes as Cuba prepares to release over 500 prisoners, including those detained in the wake of the 2021 protest. Meanwhile, President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, faced intense scrutiny during his confirmation hearing on Tuesday. Despite Democratic questions on his inexperience, past controversies, and remarks about women in combat, Hegseth appeared have secured strong support from Republicans ahead of his confirmation vote. Here's more on the same.
On Tuesday, the Biden administration revealed plans to remove Cuba from the U.S. state sponsor of terrorism list, rolling back many of the sanctions enacted by the former president, Donald Trump. This move is seen as a step towards improving diplomatic ties and signals a shift away from Trump's harsh stance against the communist-led island.
He promised many things at the beginning, that he would help Cuba in many ways that he really never fulfilled. But this will be his final goodwill.
Del final. Well,
we have to see what Trump does next. Knowing him, it's possible that they quit this week and Trump comes and everything goes backward. I see it as a somewhat useless action because how many advantages will we have? For how long? A couple of weeks? A few days?
Meanwhile, Hegseth, a former Fox News host and decorated veteran, endured a rigorous confirmation hearing for the role of Secretary of Defense, where he was challenged on a number of controversial topics. This included alleged drinking problems, previous opposition to women in combat, and his past comments on diversity in the military. Despite the harsh questions, Hegseth managed to deflect criticism and even secured support from key Republican figures, including Senator Johnny Ernst.
A handful of anonymous sources were allowed to drive a smear campaign and agenda about me because our left-wing media in America today, sadly, doesn't care about the truth. And I'll just conclude and say this to the chairman. You claim that this was all anonymous. We have seen records with names attached to all of these, including the name of your own mother. So don't make this into some anonymous press thing. We have seen multiple names of colleagues consistently throughout your career that have talked about your abusive actions,
Chairman,
attitudes,
I think he's
words,
over
and
his time.
statements.
He's way over his time.
U.S. military, including the war in Ukraine and the rising threat from China, Hegseth's ability to unify the military and advocate for Trump's policy will be tested. Will his nomination signal a new era in military leadership, or will the deep divisions in the Senate prevent him from securing the role? The outcome will be a test of the country's political unity and the future of American defense strategy. This is Abdi Hamid Ali, GBS News.
A high-profile trial has begun against 3 Chinese nationals accused of illegal mineral exploitation and other serious charges. This case has drawn significant attention, shining a spotlight on South Kivu's ongoing fight against illegal mining and environmental damage it leaves behind. With local communities demanding justice and authorities pledging to crack down on these practices, this trial is shaping up to be a pivotal moment in the fight against resource exploitation. Here is more on the same.
Of Bukavu commenced a significant trial on Monday involving 3 Chinese nationals accused of illegal mineral exploitation in Walungu, South Kivu. The defendants face 7 serious charges, including unauthorized mineral extraction, money laundering, illegal residency in the Democratic Republic of Congo, fraud, resource pillaging, and unlawful possession of mineral substances. The case has drawn widespread attention, highlighting South Kivu's ongoing struggle to combat the illegal exploitation of its natural resources. Authorities have condemned the environmental destruction and river pollution linked to illicit gold mining, often involving foreign entities. The 3 Chinese nationals were apprehended on January 4th with 10 gold bars and $400,000 in cash. The discovery sparked public outrage, making the trial a pivotal moment in the broader effort to combat illegal mining in the DRC. South Kivu Governor Jean-Jacques Sadiki highlighted the province's ongoing efforts to regulate gold mining. This trial unfolds amid a larger crisis of illegal mining in South Kivu, where in June 2024, authorities reported that 547 companies were operating unlawfully in the region, depleting resources and hindering development. As the trial progresses, it's being closely monitored as a potential turning point in addressing resources exploitation and environmental harm in DRC. Triza Tiengo, GBS News.
Irregular border crossings into the European Union fell sharply in 2024, marking a significant milestone in managing migration flows. The European Border Control Agency, Frontex, attributes the decline to intensified efforts against smuggling networks and regional cooperation. Here is more on the same.
The European Union has reported a 38% reduction in irregular borders crossing in 2024, a drop that brings the total detentions to just over 239,000, the lowest since 2021. This improvement follows intensified crackdown on smuggling networks and collaborative effort among member states. Despite this progress, challenges remain. Dangerous sea crossing continues to claim lives, while smuggling networks adapt their tactics to evade authorities. The Central Mediterranean route saw the largest decline, with arrival dropping by 59% due to fewer departures from Tunisia and Libya. The Western Balkan route also recorded a steep 78% fall after regional interventions. However, new trends have emerged. Irregular arrivals increased by 18% at the Canary Islands, reaching a record of 47,000, the highest since Frontex began tracking data in 2009. Meanwhile, the eastern EU borders with Bulgaria saw heightened activity, highlighting shifting migration dynamics. Hans Lichtens, Executive Director of Frontex, underscored the dual nature of 2024's migration landscape, stating that while the decline is crossing its significant, emerging risks like rising violence by smugglers and growing instability in regions such as Sahel demands continued vigilance and adaptive strategies. Issues of migration remain a polarizing topics across Europe, fueling political discourse and shaping policy amid ongoing debate about managing migration and supporting refugees effectively. Joy Kuria, GBS News.
South Korea's political crisis escalated this week as impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol was arrested on insurrection allegations. The historic arrest marks the first time an incumbent South Korean president has been taken into custody. Yoon, who had been under suspicion after declaring martial law in December, says he complied with the investigations to prevent violence. Abdi Hamid Ali has more.
Today, South Korean authorities arrested impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol, charging him with insurrection amid political turmoil in the country. The arrest follows his December declaration of martial law, which shocked the nation and sparked outrage among lawmakers and the public. Despite a small army of security guards at his residence, Yoon agreed to face police to avoid bloodshed. His lawyers argue the arrest warrant is illegal, claiming it was issued by a court outside the appropriate jurisdiction. Thousands of police officers marched on Yoon's residence early Wednesday, sparking clashes with his supporters. Some demonstrators waved flags promoting unverified claims of election fraud, a key reason behind Yoon's martial law move. As the situation unfolds, South Korea's constitutional court will decide whether to permanently remove him from office or restore his presidential powers. This arrest further complicates South Korea's political landscape, with polls showing a strengthening support base for Yoon's People Power Party, while the public divided over his action. Many continue to see his struggle as a symbol of deeper issues within the political system. Will this chaotic chapter in South Korean politics end in reconciliation or only fuel further divisions? The world is watching closely. This is Abdi Hamid Ali, GBS News.
And that international news brings us to a very fast break. We'll be right back with even more.
Hello everyone! Welcome to Fun. And the hyenas were there. They wanted to snatch the baby and tear that baby into pieces and eat.
Today, we're going to make a cactus in a pot. Hey, you, Colt on. Are you biting your thumb at me?
I love my mommy. I love my mommy. Yes, I do.
Are you going to show love to your friend? I'm sure you are going to do that. Friends, until next time, bye!
Then because those people, let's commend them on their quality. Sana sana their music videos quality na top notch.
Kwa artist atakuwa msanii. Usiingie, usienda kwa studio kwanza kurecord ngoma bila kuwa educated about music. Juu sasa utaingia hapo, urecord ngoma yako vizuri alafu
yo utakuwa umegain kila kitu, but pia label uyachangi hivyo. Yeah, we helped you, so you are supposed to
do something.
Yeah.
Kiingia unapewa contract. Unajua contract inakonga between two parties. Mnaagria under one thing, kila mtu analeta interest zake, then mnaangalia vile mtapata.
We have talent in the ghettos, but manze usanii ni ngumu, designer wise endelea.
True. Manze mimi niliona movie ya Kenya je. Na movie ilikuwa ina trend. Walitumia Land Rover hizi za kitambo, hizi chuma, hizi.
Yeah. Mtu akisenza audio kitu ni ya uongo.
Umeelewa kabisa.
Form 1 kuna msemehando akasema ni artist. Akaambia kuja hapa bro. Unichore pilipili na ukali yake.
Kuna pilipili bat sawa, but now how the ukali bat.
So through the four gospel books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John, we can know the heart of Jesus in depth. And the Jesus that we can feel him through the scriptures, and I'm very thankful about that. Jesus Christ came to this earth for our sins. He carried our sins. And he was crucified, and he received the punishment for sins. And he was put into the tomb and resurrected in 3 days. This is the gospel that we speak. About how Jesus died for our sins. The purpose of Jesus being crucified. He was crucified to pay for our sins. And through Jesus being crucified, clearly our sins have been washed clean. However, unfortunately, many people still say that they are sinners.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin. Now, South African rescuers have recovered 36 bodies and saved 82 survivors from an abandoned gold mine in Stilfontein, Northwest Province. This marks a grim chapter in the country's fight against illegal mining, as hundreds remain trapped underground. Here is more on the same.
African Authority continues in intensive rescue operation at the abandoned Stilfontein gold mine, where 36 bodies have been recovered and 82 survivors pulled to safety. These survivors now face charges of illegal mining and immigration violation. The mine, located 150 kilometers from Johannesburg, has been under siege since August as part of a government crackdown on illegal mining, described by officials as a war on the economy. Rescuers are using a metal cage to bring men and bodies up from shaft more than 2 kilometers underground. The survivors are part of a network of unlicensed miners, many of whom are immigrants from other African nations. These miners often risk their lives in abandoned mine to extract remnants of precious metal left behind by companies that deem the site no longer commercially viable. Criticism over the government's handling of the crisis has mounted. Human rights groups and local residents have condemned this tragedy of cutting off food and water to force miners to surface. A court rule in December ordered the government to allow supplies to reach those trapped, and last week, another directive mandated the launch of a rescue operation. The government estimates that illegal mining cost the economy 60 billion rand last year. Minister Gwende Mantashe referred to the effort as a necessary battle to protect the country's resources. However, for families like Matumelos, who haven't heard from their loved ones in months, the situation is heartbreaking. Rescue operations are expected to continue for several days, with authorities providing daily updates. Joy Kuria, GBS News.
The bill to prolong President Emmerson Mnangagwa's current mandate could be tabled before Parliament in a matter of days. Interestingly, it has already won opposition backing on Tuesday. A top official of the Citizens Coalition for Change, the party of opposition chief Nelson Chamisa, said the outfit will not block the bid when officially presented by the government. If endorsed via potential referendum, the change will delay elections until 2030. President Mnangagwa's current mandate expires in 2028. Speculations on what might have driven the opposition lawmakers to announce support for the bid is rife. Deferring elections will benefit members of parliament too by buying them 2 more years in office. Zimbabwe's constitution limits the presidential office to two 5-year terms, and Mnangagwa is serving his second and final term. Some CCC members have distanced themselves from the proposal, branding their colleagues backing its sellouts.
Members of the opposition, make sure you deal with the ruling party. Don't make them sit. Make sure you make them busy, the opposition. Somebody get it. Nyanga bakadini rambai mchingo criticize kuseni masikati criticize. That way mnoabasi watu warambi vari power. Nokuti vanenge vachidiscover my mistakes ava vachicorrect. Ivi muchingorova nokuti mukasivarova vanorelaxa mozotora power. So my advice to opposition, please be serious in opposition.
Qatar is leading ceasefire agreement which aims to end the war in Gaza, which has killed over 46,000 civilians. The ceasefire agreement states that Hamas must release their hostages in exchange of Palestinian prisoners in Israel. Qatar is confident that peace will unfold.
Underlying issues, major issues between the two parties unresolved. These issues were resolved during the talks in the past couple of weeks, and therefore we have reached a point where the major issues that were preventing a deal from happening were addressed, and we have language pertaining to these issues that has been distributed. would lead very soon to an agreement. So the main reason why we are more optimistic right now is, as I said, during the past months there were underlying issues, major issues between the two parties unresolved. These issues were resolved during the talks in the past couple of weeks, and therefore we have reached a point where the major issues that were preventing a deal from happening were addressed, and we have language pertaining to these issues that has been distributed between both parties.
Syria is emerging from a devastating 14-year civil war, faces immense challenges in restoring its football infrastructure. With many stadiums in disrepair and a FIFA ban on hosting international matches still in effect, the nation's football future hinges on overcoming the long-term effects of neglect and political interference. However, recent political changes have opened new opportunities for rebuilding, including the potential of revival of the country's football facilities. The road to recovery will require substantial effort, international support, and time, but there is hope for a brighter future in Syrian football. That's all for today at The Ambassador GBS Global. Meet me same place, same time at 1 p.m. I am your Ambassador Susan Nganga. Good afternoon.